What's
now?
up?
Why you look? It's so old and tired. You need something new. It's a
Hey
new
now.
channel. God,
Hey now is forever. What's
it's
up, everybody?
not.
The first
It's
stream on the
not.
new channel, Death of a Franchise. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Episode 5 of The Acolyte. So
yeah,
we haven't even
no.
talked about this. We just spent the last 10 minutes trying to get me on the channel here. But
Yeah, look, and you can't see me in the chat because I can't. I don't think I can switch it over to my Adam channel. So the death of the franchise commenting is me, and I did play the prank on Sammy. So I want full credit for that.
there you go. Okay. So let's go through. Should we talk about the episode first or should we go through the plot first? What do you think?
Well, I just look just the broad notes of the plot. Let's not. I don't want to do the
Okay.
plot for like 2 hours. Sometimes,
Well, the broad notes of the plot are so the last episode ended with the Sith guy shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm a Sith guy," and he pushes Osha away. He like
again,
looks at her.
again, again, the like this series has a huge problem with conflict. Keep
Mhm.
sustaining conflict. Okay, so last time the episode ends, the only interesting conflict in the series was who is the masked guy, right? Again, the
Well,
conflict is immediately resolved.
I guess the conflict is who is the guy, and we still don't know what the hell anyone's motivations are. We're
Yeah,
five
look,
episodes in of an 8 episode season, and we don't know why people are doing what they're doing
at the
at all.
beginning of this episode, it appears that May forgot that she was turning herself in. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Right, right.
Did she just completely forget that? Oh, okay. I guess we're going in that direction, but
Well,
yeah.
to be fair, she was going to turn herself in, then forgot she was going to turn herself in, and then the Sith guy showed up and she just kind of ran away, I guess.
Yeah, look, her motivation is completely unclear through all of this. So in the fourth episode, for the first time you get some actual external conflict. Like this crazy everyone's calling him Smilo Ren shows up and you're like, who is the masked guy? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this episode can basically be summed up as everyone fights the masked guy. Then the mask comes off and we figure out who he is, and the fight kind of continues. And it ends with spoiler, um May is going to pretend to be Osha, right?
Yes.
So, and that's it. That is kind of not a lot going on here,
Yeah,
right?
all that happened is the Sith guy killed basically everyone except for Soul.
He killed Jackie, he killed Yord.
Yes, he
He
literally
didn't
killed everyone.
he didn't
Like,
kill they them. He didn't kill the non-binary rodent. That guy
he
got
didn't. That's
away.
right. He didn't kill the rodent. Didn't kill Soul, and he didn't kill the two sisters. Everyone else is dead. So everyone
Right.
died this episode, which I guess is supposed to be sad, but I didn't care about any of these characters anyway.
Which
So
is a
I
huge
felt
problem
nothing.
right there.
Yeah.
Like I used my line, the lugging in of unearned emotion when Jackie died. I'm like, you could see they did a shot like you're really supposed to care about it. And I'm like, ha, that bitch.
Well,
like I don't care about this stupid bitch.
Jackie did the best, coolest thing in this entire episode. Okay, so we do have to
Okay.
give her credit for that. There's a scene where after they fight the Sith guy the first time, May's like trying to run away, and Jackie from like nowhere fucking does a wrestling double jump drop kick on May from like off screen, and I audibly laughed for like 10 seconds after that scene occurred.
Yeah, this was, I mean, the one thing this episode did have going for it that the other episodes did not have is I was at least interested. Like the fight choreography was reasonably good and there was stuff going on. So, I mean, the other episodes I was like, what am I supposed to, what is the interest level here? Like what am I supposed to be interested in here?
Well,
So,
I mean, I don't know if I'd say there's stuff like there's a fight going on. We don't
yeah.
really like. Obviously, they're fighting to not die, and the fight choreography for them. There's a couple things I was like, what is going on here? But for some of the blocking was confusing. But yeah, the fight choreography was good enough. There's like this weird thing where so the Sith guy who turns out to be dun, who everyone guessed, the Asian guy, Jason
Right.
Mendoza, aka Quillam, um,
That's exactly right.
he has like special metal helmet and a special metal gauntlet that has some ability to like disrupt lightsabers for like a couple of seconds. So like
Right.
he literally headbutts a lightsaber, which at first I thought was retarded. And then I was like, oh, it has some magic, it has some special properties. So he headbutts the lightsaber and it like disrupts it for a second. And I'm like, that's kind of a cool idea, but I like, what is that? Shouldn't that have been set up at some point in the series that there's some kind of metal that disrupts lightsabers
Hey, they did actually do a setup and payoff though with
of the
the
bugs?
bugs. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said they would.
Yes. Well, look, I'm not sure that these writers actually understand setup and payoff. So I was skeptical that there would actually be a payoff.
Okay, if you drag to 6 minutes and 49 seconds, you can see the double the double kick from Jackie, like wrestling kick from like off screen into May's face. Oh my God, that was the best part of the episode. Okay, so let's kind of go through this because I feel like we're just kind of like all over the place here.
Right, right, right.
Okay, so the fight starts. May wakes up. So this is kind of or Osha wakes up. It's like really weird because in the last episode, the Sith guy he looks at Osha like longingly, which is part of why I thought that maybe it was one of the women or something, which it isn't now, obviously. But then he just like and he knocks her away. So we don't really know why he likes her. We still don't know why the fuck he likes her or either of them in this episode. He knocks Osha away, and then she wakes up in the beginning of this episode and she like kind of wanders around and then she sees that he's fighting all the Jedis. And I thought these were all like Jedi Knights or Jedi Masters. And he's just like killing them all, like back to back to back. He's just like with ease like,
Yeah.
in the beginning. And I'm like, why is he so amazing?
Yeah. I mean, they have one, he talks, Quimir is the guy's name.
Jason.
Quimmer, and he
Yes.
talks to Soul, and they have this talk about kind of his thing is freedom. He just wants to be free to do what he wants to do, like kill people indiscriminately. So it's his motivation is not really clear at all. So it's hard. Like I can enjoy the climactic action just visually, but it's not as deep as it could be as if we understand the motivation behind the characters, right? Like obviously we always default to talking about the Mountain and the Hound in Game of Thrones because you
Right.
understand like there's this sibling rivalry that has gone back forever, and you're kind of invested. There's something going on internally as in addition to the external action.
Well,
This has none of that because you don't know why Quimmer is doing what he's doing. Like obviously everybody else is well. Look, even at this point in the game, you should know why May, what is driving May, and what is driving Osha, but you really don't. Like in this fight, you don't even know. Like May went from last episode, I'm going to turn myself in. Osha's still alive. To, oh, actually, I'm not going to turn myself in. I'm going to fight with Jecki, to the death, basically trying to kill one another.
yeah,
And
why was she
like,
fighting Jackie?
and
Oh,
look,
maybe she was just
Jecki wasn't
right.
even there during this inciting incident scene, supposedly when the whole family died. They do talk
No.
about that, and it's really strange because there is what it appears to be is there is what everyone believes happened with the family, that May started a fire and killed everyone, and what really happened, the Jedi did something horrible and murdered everyone, right?
Hmm.
But they're instead of instead of the audience knowing explicitly what's going on, they're still trying to hide that. So the characters can't really talk about it explicitly. Like May, the conversation that May and Osha had, which should be like major character building stuff. I mean, they're just talking kind of about surface level stuff that the audience already knows, like the Jedi took you away. Like as that conversation is going on, I'm thinking, well, May, you like killed your entire family. Like May literally says to Osha that the Jedi took you away and family is what matters. And I'm thinking, I mean, family is what matters. You tried to kill your sister and you killed your entire family. Like, how do you have the right to say that? Right.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, does she know that the
Yeah.
Jedi really killed everyone, or does she not know?
So yeah, so after the fight, when the Sith guy's temporarily disabled, Osha and May finally get to have their conversation. And yeah, as you're saying, you this would be the time where you thought you would learn something, right? You learn some kind of dark secret about the Jedi or whatever motivating May to do the evil things. Instead, all we learn is that Osha says, "You killed everyone. You started a fire," and then May says, "You've been brainwashed." And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And then
Neither one of
like,
them say you killed everyone, you started a fire.
well, she
They
said you
don't.
started the fire.
Does she say that? Okay.
Yeah, she says that. She says you started the fire that like burned our house down, our home down, or something. And
Okay.
then May responds with like looking at her shocked, saying you've been brainwashed by the Jedi, and then goes in for a hug, which is really strange.
I know
And then
there's
Osha,
this weird
Osha,
hug.
yeah, she goes in for the hug, and then Osha gives her the hug, but then is like, "Psych, I'm gonna arrest you by holding you in a judo lock," which is really stupid because she knows that May knows like the Force. So I don't know why you think like holding someone in a judo lock is going to stop them, because then obviously it doesn't stop them. And she knocks out Osha, then
Osha
decides to
doesn't know
dress
the
up.
Force. Osha literally studied to be a Jedi. That's why it's
Yeah,
like,
but right, but we haven't seen her like in the first episode. She tries to use it and it doesn't work.
oh,
And
okay.
then the last episode, she's like, "Oh, I can sense life again," but we haven't really seen her like do. I don't think we saw her do anything with the Force. So she should still obviously get her ass kicked by May in a fight, which is exactly what happens. May just knocks her out pretty easily, and then takes her clothes, dresses up like her, and is like, "Soul, come on, it's me, Osha. Let's get out of here." And then they walk away, just leaving all the dead bodies to rot and get eaten by the
Yeah,
animals.
that's another thing. I'm like, oh my God, the Jedi just look like bumbling fools. They don't even take, Soul doesn't take Yord's body or Jeki's body. They're just kind of like lying out. It's like, what? You're not going to bury these people? You're not going to get them back to their family? Oh, I guess Jedi don't really have any family, right?
Well, they have
That's
family, but well, I mean, I guess the excuse you could say is like the Sith is still around, so they're like trying to get out quickly, maybe, and then come back with like an army
okay.
since he killed like 10 people already. They all
So
suck.
this, so Soul runs like a coward. Okay, great character
Right.
development here.
Yes.
And another thing that really is really clouding up the story is this whole idea of, can Jedi read minds or what? Like what is the
Yes.
level that they can read minds? Because we mentioned when we were talking about who could be the guy in the mask that Quimmer was in the store, I think in episode 2, and they did the twin switcheroo on him. And we thought, well, it can't be Quimmer because obviously when that happened, if he was the Sith, he would easily be able to tell this is not my pupil, right? You can sense this person isn't emanating the dark force, right, of the Sith.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's what's weird in episode 2, because now that we know that Quill is the Sith, in episode 2, was he just pretending when May was like when Osha goes in the shop and pretends to be May? Was he honestly surprised or not? It's unclear.
it's totally unclear. So, but then not only that, May comes in to pretend to be Osha. May gives herself a haircut with a lightsaber, and she's
At
going to
the
go
end of this episode, yes.
right. She's going to pretend to be Osha.
So wait, but
And
you got
Soul is
okay.
such a fucking dipshit. He falls for it. I'm like, Soul was the guy that, remember the criminal, and Soul waved his hand and could read the criminal's mind.
Yes.
What the fuck? Well,
This is okay. There's a lot to talk about with this. So it's actually so that scene is really fucking cringe. I don't know if you could I don't know if you can find it. Like when May is not or sorry, when Osha is knocked out, May like she like looks at her and then like holds her head over
oh, I
and
know. Yeah,
uses
because
the lightsaber to cut her hair off. And it's so like weird and cringy.
yeah,
Oh, here it is.
yeah,
It's
you're
at
supposed to think it's cool. I got it. I got
yeah,
it.
okay.
So
But
you're
then
supposed to think this is like super cool. This is like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that.
which yeah, first of all, you think so be like you'd be like,
I
Osha, why
smell
do you
burning
smell like burnt
hair.
hair? Why do you smell like burnt hair? But then it's weird because when she does it, there's like this dramatic music playing that's like the music that was playing at the cult ladies. Like it's like I
Right. The
was like,
ominous
okay,
music.
what is happening? Yeah, why is this so cringe? But then, yeah, you're right. Because then shouldn't Soul is a fucking Jedi. He should be able to sense like the darkness within
Right.
May,
Well,
like
and
instantly.
and not only that, through this whole thing, he's been like, I sense you're not lying, OSHA. Like he's got this psychic connection with his
Right.
ex Padawan.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now all of
So
a sudden anyone can pretend to be his ex Padawan and he totally falls for it.
well, anyone that's I mean, looks like the other person, I guess. But yeah, he should be able to sense it instantly. That's why they kept the stupid rodent alive, because I guess he's gonna be able to know because he can smell. Maybe they smell different or something.
Oh, this makes a Jedi look so weak. So
Oh
weak
yeah.
sauce.
Well, I mean, you had one Sith like kill like 10 Jedi, so I guess, besides that. But so,
Right.
no, the mind reading thing is a big problem. So you ask the question, okay, Soul should instantly be able to know that May is May and not Osha because he should sense the dark side in her like instantaneously. This is also a big problem because when Soul is fighting Quill slash Jason Mendoza, he's like, take off your
Quimmer.
Swimmer, whatever his name. It's such a stupid name. He's like, he's like, He's like, Jason, you should take off your helmet so that I can, see your face. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that because if I take off my helmet, then you can read my mind. So I'm like, oh, so we have a helmet that blocks lightsabers and also has some kind of like mind, deflecting powers like Magneto's helmet in X-Men or something. I'm like, all right, I
Again,
guess,
giving
right,
Soul saying Soul can read people's minds, but then all of a
right.
sudden, as soon as she shows up with her haircut, oh no, I
No,
can't
I
read
know.
minds.
Yeah, I know. But then he gets his helmet knocked off, which by the way, his helmet Quimmer's helmet, the Q Man's helmet, doesn't make sense how his helmet gets knocked off. It makes no sense. Okay, this is a helmet that can deflect a lightsaber blast. And the way it gets knocked off is that Jackie elbows him in the face and then hits him in the head with the back of the lightsaber and it gets knocked off somehow.
Okay.
Okay. So I have no clue how his helmet got knocked. And then he picks it up again and it's like still like one chunk. It's like still like the whole face, the front part is still intact, and then the back somehow fell off. And I'm like, I don't know how her elbowing him in the face and then hitting him with the back lightsaber made his helmet come off, but whatever. But then once his helmet comes off, Soul never tries to read his mind. Okay. They literally set it up like, I'm not gonna take my helmet off because then you could do some Professor X stuff and read my mind. His helmet comes off. He doesn't try to read his mind. And this is like, okay, it's actually even dumber. Let me get back up for a second. It's even dumber because when Soul's fighting Quim, the Q man, he's like, "Who are you?" And then Q is like, "Don't you recognize me?" He's like, "You seem familiar. I sense that I know you, but I don't know. Like, I can't be specific. I sense that you're familiar." Then when his helmet gets knocked off, he still doesn't know who he is. Okay, Soul still has no fucking clue who this guy is by looking at him. And then he doesn't try to read his mind at any point, even though that's why he was wearing the helmet, was to prevent him from reading his mind.
Yeah.
So we, the audience, still don't fucking know who the bad guy is or why he's doing anything.
Yeah, which makes it not as satisfying, obviously.
No. So, and I realize because there's like a really big lore retcon problem here, which is that in the prequels, when the Sith showed up or when Palpatine shows up, they're all like, oh my God, there hasn't been a Sith in like a bajillion years or whatever, right? And that's a problem because this guy says he's technically a Sith. And this was only like 200 years ago. And so I think that's why he basically has to kill everyone is because they need to like the retcon will be, well, there was a Sith earlier, but he literally kills everyone that could have knowledge of that. So the Jedi just didn't know there was a Sith running around 200 years ago. I
Really?
mean,
You
you
think?
think no, that I'm telling you, that's what will happen. Okay, he will
Really?
kill
Wow.
everyone, or they'll just promise not to tell. They'll pinky swear not to tell, and that's how they'll be like, "Oh, we're not destroying the lore because they're really, no one knew about it."
So
Even
this
though
season literally dies with everyone dies at the end of this season.
they're either gonna die or just like run away and not. I think Soul will probably die, or Soul will, run away from the Jedi, and then whoever knows will not go back to Jedi Order. That's going to be the explanation of how this doesn't retcon or ruin the lore. Even though it still does, because the Jedi would be like, okay, well, we just had like 20 Jedi die. They did no investigation into it. Like, oh, they show up on the planet, like, 20 Jedi died. And look, they died of lightsaber wounds. Jeez, how did this happen?
They didn't even recover the bodies. They don't know that they died of lightsaber wounds. Those
Well,
bugs
I
are
guess
going to
so.
be eating them by sundown.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so yeah, I want that scene. I want the last scene of the show to be like Jedi are like, okay, we sent 20 Jedi to go to this planet. They never called back. Let's go investigate. They go investigate, and they just find like all these corpses, like half-eaten corpses by bugs. And like, oh well, the bugs ate too many of the corpses of the Jedi. I guess we can't figure out how they died.
Yeah. So what
Oh,
else?
and then okay, and then also the mind reading thing is even more of a problem because if Q is the Sith guy, that like completely makes Yord 100% in the right. So in episode 2, Yord is like, we should just capture this guy and like read his mind and get the information. And then Jackie's like, no, that's stupid. We should have Osha pretend to be May and then sneak into the store, and then he'll just tell us what we need to know. But if they had done Yord's plan in the first part, they would have read his mind and instantly known that he was the Sith because he would have been able to block them with his own force power.
Yeah, it's kind of like they didn't do that because it would ruin the story.
Yes.
But
Why do
wait,
they even like, and you're right, like there was no reason to establish the mind reading power. I guess they have to because it's like a thing that comes up in Star Wars, but like I don't know, I just feel like they should have just never done it. Just let it remain like not a thing that you ever see anyone do in this Star Wars TV show. Just never see anyone read anyone's mind. Like the Jedi can sense things maybe, but not like directly read people's minds like Kylo Ren could. Because in the originals, there wasn't. I don't believe there was ever like a direct mind reading power. It was just kind of like sensing things, right? Sensing intentions or emotions or feelings. And then in the sequels, you had. I'm sure in some of like the cartoons or something, but in the sequels, you had like the direct like I'm ripping the thoughts out of your brain power.
yeah, in the original trilogy, he just had the trick of making people say things, like with the stormtrooper,
Well, he was
right?
mind controlling them. Yeah, he could do the
Yeah.
little mind control thing,
But that's
which is
not,
different.
you don't necessarily know if he's reading their thoughts
No, yeah, it
or
doesn't
if
seem
he's
like, yeah.
just like puppeteering the person,
Right,
invasion of the body snatcher style.
right.
This whole I'm going to read your thoughts thing is, I mean, I don't remember it in any of the original trilogy.
No.
Yeah. And it does add this kind of complication to the story, especially this story. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, if you're writing this story out and you're like, okay, we have a bunch of mind reading going on, and then we've got this twin thing where she's literally going to pretend to be her other twin. And it's kind of contradictory to the whole mind reading thing. So one of those things has to go. Like we stop reading everyone's mind or we don't do the twin thing.
Hmm.
But no, they're like, nah, let's just go with both of them. So it's like completely ridiculous. I'm
Hmm.
just the end of this. This is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Like OSHA and Soul are running away. They don't know. Well, May pretending to be OSHA is running away with Soul. Like they don't know
Right.
the they don't know what's happened to May. They're just gonna leave.
Well, so that whole sequence, okay. So that whole sequence made no sense. So basically the way this episode breaks down is so the Sith guy's fighting all the Jedi. Um, Osha like wakes up and sees it. May is in the house, the Loki house. She runs away, and then Osha's like chasing May, like or Jackie's chasing May. I don't know. They're all chasing May for some reason. Jackie gets into like a fight with May, tries to arrest May, even though the Sith's killing all her friends. Like, I guess that's important. She escapes. Then, as and then the Solos tells Yordles and Osha to like GTFO off the planet. So they're running away. Then it comes back to the bugs. Osha finds the bugs again. She's like, "Oh my God, I can sense something with the Force. The Sith guy's gonna kill everyone. Let me like bring all these bugs back. That's gonna help us somehow." So she uses her flashlight to draw all the little centipede bugs from the previous episode to the fight, which, by the way, makes no sense because when she shows up at the fight, there's like a good 5 minutes before the bugs show up. And you're like, I thought they were chasing her. Like she had her flashlight and she was making the bugs chase her. When she gets to the fight, she doesn't have her flashlight out. Nothing happens for 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, for no reason, the bugs just show up.
She pulls her flashlight out and stabs Quimmer in the back
Right,
with it.
but it takes a while. So
Of
then
course, yeah.
right. So then once like exactly the amount this correct time happens after so then the Quimmer has killed both Jackie and Yords at this point. Okay. Both of them are dead. It's just Soul. The bugs finally show up. And Osha's seen all this, by the way. She takes her flashlight. She somehow is able to stick it on Quimmer's back, even though he's a Sith Lord master fighter who killed 10 Jedi in 10 seconds and should have like amazing force powers. Somehow she's able to just run up and stick a flashlight to his back. And
She
then
stabs him in the back with it. That's what she does.
Does it have like a sharp thing?
Yeah, she pulls the thing off. It's got like a little knife on it, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, she stabs him in the back like he's been fighting off 10 Jedi the whole time. But no, Osha, the Jedi reject, goes and stabs him right in the back.
She literally just like waddles up and like sticks it on his back somehow.
Here it is.
And then in a very like comical, like cartoonish scene, he like can't reach. She
his
puts
own
it like in
back.
Yeah, she like puts it in like the exact like middle of his back. And he's like, I can't reach the exact middle of my back. No. He's just like flailing around. I'm like, this guy has telekinesis.
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, he just pushed back like 15 people. You can't push a little light out of your back?
No. And then for some reason, the flashlight attracts the bugs where his giant glowing lightsaber, like, wouldn't his giant glowing lightsaber be what attracts the bugs?
Yeah.
Why do you need the flashlight?
Well, the setup was the lightsaber attracted the bugs before. Yeah. So
yeah, but then why did the like they make it seem like
complete contradiction?
I know. So then the guy who just killed like 10 Jedi, he gets swamped by all the little bugs and he can't defeat the bugs. He can't just push them back with the force power. He can't just like spin around in a circle and kill them with his lightsaber. He's like, no bugs, ew, and the bugs just carry him off into the sky, and he gets taken by bugs. Okay, and then I was like, oh, okay, that was very silly, I guess. After he just dominated everyone, he gets taken off by bugs. But then this even like dumber thing happens where instead of just like fucking leaving, so before like right before that happens, the Sith guy tells Osha, we should really be doing this in order because it's like easier to like, wrap our brains around. But the Sith guy tells Osha, oh, Soul's been lying to you. He knows a bunch of like dark secrets about something. And so as soon as the Sith guy gets taken off by bugs, instead of Soul or Osha being like, okay, let's like try to get our like bodies of our friends and like get the fuck out of here while that Sith guy is getting distracted by bugs. Instead, Osha, because she's a dumb asshole, is like, you need to tell me about my backstory and what you've been lying about, Soul. And Soul's like, there's like 20 fucking dead bodies around. This what you want to talk about? Like, shouldn't you be in shock? You just saw like everyone died. You don't care?
And then that's completely off tone.
I know, it was like, it makes her seem so heartless. Like she doesn't give a fuck about all these people just dying left and right. She's like, no, you need to tell me about like what he was talking about. Soul should have been like, shut the fuck up. And then Soul gets, because Soul's a shitty Jedi, gets snuck up on by May, who has the little stun stick. Because right before this scene, because Osha is retarded, while the Sith guy is like killed all the Jedi, that she literally watches, okay? She watches the Sith guy break Yordle's neck. and she has like barely any emotional like register to this. This is a guy that I thought they were friends. I thought they trained as a Jedi together. She doesn't care. His neck gets snapped. She just kind of looks a little shocked and then immediately turns around and chases her sister, sees her sister running away, and Osha stuns her sister with a little stun stick. And I'm like, bitch, there's a Sith guy murdering everyone. Why did you do that? Like, what does that accomplish? Because you think you're going to take her in? You're going to probably die in like 2 seconds. And even if you just doomed your sister because she's trying to run away too from the Sith guy, obviously. Like, why would you stun your sister at that moment? There's like more important things to deal with.
Yeah, look, and what happens with the stun gun? She throws it on the ground because then later, May has the stun gun and stuns Osha.
Yeah, and then
It's like,
yeah,
what, this stun gun is just like available for anyone to use?
well, I guess she like dropped it on the floor because she needed both hands to stick the flashlight on the Sith guy.
She doesn't have a holster. She had a holster.
I don't know. Maybe it got knocked out of her hand. I don't remember exactly what the scene, how it all broke down, but somehow it gets knocked on the floor. Um, and then apparently the stun only lasts like 2 seconds on May. We don't know why. It lasts like 2 seconds on May because she's already up. She uses the force to grab the stun stick. She stuns Soul, which by the way, when she stuns him, it lasts for like a much longer time. And then that's when they run off and they have their conversation.
Soul and May pretending to be Osha.
Yes.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. It's like they had such opportunity to just make these characters likable. I mean, if Soul like fell back and regrouped and just said, I'm not leaving without Jackie. I'm not leaving without Yord. Like you'd immediately go, okay, this guy has some fucking balls, right? Like,
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, you needed a scene like where they're like, we need to take we need to take Jackie and Yord, and then someone's like, there's no time, he's gonna be free in any second. We'll come back with like more Jedi or something. Like you needed some acknowledgement, right? Some line.
no, why not just have him fall back and say, look, I'm not leaving without him, and just fucking dig in? And I mean,
Well, I don't know what the next scene is gonna be, obviously. I'm just saying if you need him to leave for some very specific reason, you just
this scene here just, so I'm actively rooting for Soul to die now. The scene where Soul and May or or May pretending to be Osha walking away, just I lose all respect for Soul.
right.
Soul's like, all my friends are dead. I'm just gonna let them rot on the jungle floor.
Yeah,
I'm walking away with the person I was supposedly trying to arrest, and she's fooled me into
right.
thinking she's my longtime Padawan. You're fucking this guy, moron.
Okay. Yes. So in the Star Wars animated Clone Wars, they had General Grievous in it, who in the movies
Okay,
he was pathetic and lame. In the cartoon, he was like super badass. And part of what was cool about him is that he would use his like weird robotic body and extra arms to fight the Jedi in creative ways. And like there's like a cool reveal where he kind of like blocks a Jedi with two lightsabers, and then he has his other arms pop out, and they didn't know he had the other arms. And he grabs his lightsabers and then he kills them like quickly because they just didn't expect it to happen. And
right.
I'm like kind of like rewatching the beginning of the fight scene, and it would have been really cool if they could have almost made the fight scene in the beginning really cool. They just needed to fix two things, which is they needed to have a scene in the series where they establish that special metal that disrupts the lightsabers. So that when we see him use it, we're like, oh shit, it's that thing, right? Because when he does it in the show, when he like headbutts a lightsaber, I'm like, what is I'm just confused. I was like, there's a metal that turns off lightsabers. We've
Yeah,
never seen this before in like any of the movies. I mean, maybe it's from like some of the extended lore, but we've never seen it in the show. It hasn't been established. And then if they do this weird thing where like if he had this metal that turns off lightsabers and they didn't expect him to have it, they should have set it up so that he does it. And then when they're like momentarily confused that their lightsabers off, then he kills them, right? It's like direct action leads to the result. He goes boom, headbutts them, hits the bust of the lightsaber, it turns off, he kills them. Like he uses that tool to do this to kill them, to accomplish something. But he doesn't. He just like turns off their lightsabers, gets into a fight, and then just randomly kills them afterwards because they're incompetent, I guess. Like it makes the Jedi seem shittier. Like if you had to use a bunch of weird tricks to kill the Jedi, it would have been like, oh, that's cool. And also it makes the Jedi not look so shitty. That 10, like that one guy could just kill 10 Jedi.
Yeah, because he's cheating. Yeah, that would be 10 times better.
Right. Because it's literally a part, it's like so silly. Like at 319, like right in the beginning, he stabs a lady with his lightsaber, and then he just uses the force to pull another man onto the lightsaber like a shish kebab.
Yeah, no, that was
Which
comical.
I was like, I don't know. I thought these were all supposed to be like Jedi Knights or Jedi Masters. It seems kind of silly that you could just fucking wreck them all so easily.
Yeah, the
Maybe.
Jedi look. It's they spent so much time in the original trilogy building that character arc over 3 movies. So when Luke walks in at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, you're like, okay, this guy's a total badass. All of that
Mhm.
has been completely erased. These
Yeah.
are not
Mhm.
badasses at all.
No, the Jedi seem horribly incompetent in this. I mean, there's literally a part where May is running away and the Sith is chasing her, and he throws his lightsaber at her, and it's like cutting through all the trees. And then Soul shows up and he deflects it. And instead of deflecting it and then trying to grab it out of the air with the Force, he just deflects it and lets it fly right back to the Sith guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that was stupid.
Yeah, that was really dumb.
That's really stupid. So then we find out that okay, so we the Sith guy says to Soul, "Don't you remember me?" Soul says, "You seem familiar." Doesn't know. Jackie tries to arrest May. They go back and forth. Soul says, "Take off your mask" to the Sith guy. The Sith guy says, let you read my thoughts." Even though once his helmet is removed, he never,
Reads his thoughts.
actually
Yeah.
tries to read his thoughts.
And he
It also
doesn't seem
seems
worried about it at all anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it seems like the main characters have massive plot armor because when there's like 10 no-name Jedis fighting the Sith, they all get killed in seconds. But of course, when the name characters fight the Sith, like they last significantly longer, which
Yeah.
always bothers me.
That'd be a
Is
great way to
annoying.
introduce a new character. If the character was just a background character, then all of a sudden everyone died and they're like, I'm the main character now. That'd
Yeah.
be a good intro, right? I'm the
I
only
mean,
one that lived.
it will be interesting if like you have like this like background like generic looking guy and it turns out he's just like the badass fighter. He
Oh,
just is
yeah.
actually like really
Yeah.
good.
No, that would be a good introduction.
That'd be
That'd be a
cool,
great
right?
introduction. Yeah.
So then Soul tells Yordle and Usha to like run away. And there's this really weird part where they stop, and Yordle's is like, that Sith guy, he doesn't follow the rules of combat, and there's no method to his movements.
Yeah.
It's doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that is supposed to mean. Like, I guess like it'd be interesting if they were going to say that like his helmet somehow prevented them from having their precog abilities, but that doesn't really make any sense at all. So I think they're intentionally just being vague about it so that it seems cool without them having to actually explain anything making sense. Then he says, Yord says, the Sith guy gets into your head and he stays there, which is
It-
really fucking weird because there's no scene that we see where you see him like do anything mentally to anyone. We never see that happen in the show at all. George says it happened at some point, but we never see it happen. And that only exists because then you get the response from Osha who says, "My mother could do that." And I guess she's referring to, if you remember in episode 3, like there's that weird scene where when the Jedi come to the temple, the mom starts chanting and then the one guy like keels over and his eyes go black.
Mhm.
So even though like that would have been very visible if the Sith guy did that to someone, right? So I guess I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna say that the Sith guy was like trained by maybe one of the women survivors of the Coven or something. Do you think that's where this is gonna go? Like there has to be some connection, otherwise they wouldn't have that line.
Could be. Who knows? Who cares? Not really invested in any of the characters is the problem. That's
Well,
the big
obviously,
problem here.
obviously. Let's see. Then Jackie fights May for no reason, even though May wanted to literally give herself up.
Yeah, that's giant giant error. I don't know why.
Then they have massive plot armor because Jackie gets into a one-on-one fight with the Sith guy and is like not immediately killed. Like,
Right.
even though he was just cutting through Jedi after Jedi, they have like this pretty long fight. She dual wields lightsabers, and it's like, oh my God, she's a dual wielding. Now she's like twice as powerful, I guess. Which I don't think that's how dual wielding swords works, but what do I know? Uh, then let's see, they fight some more. Osha decides to run back with the bugs. I did like how the Sith guy kills Jackie. I thought it was kind of cool. He's like blocking her lightsaber, and then he pulls out another lightsaber from his lightsaber, like a little mini lightsaber, and he just stabs her a bunch of times while he's blocking her lightsaber. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, I guess.
Yeah, stabs her through the chest, and then we see it come out her back. I was trying to
Yes.
get to that. I can't get to that frame.
It's
They linger on Jackie's like "I'm dead" expression. And you're just like, remember that time that Jackie reached out to Osha when she was leaving? God, that was so meaningful.
if you go to
Now
15
she's
minutes,
dead.
if you go to 15 minutes in 1 second, you'll have the frame of like the three
Fi
holes on her back.
15 minute and 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah.
finally.
Well, it's interesting too, because like, people were talking about that there's supposed to be some kind of romance between Jackie and the main character, which I frankly never felt or experienced. And now she's dead. So I guess there definitely is not going to be any romance between the main character, maybe some kind of forbidden love like in the prequels that's going to cause conflict. Like, oh, she's going to have to leave the Jedi Order. No, she's dead now. None of that matters. Uh, the Yord's character who, got his neck fucking snapped this episode. I guess we don't know or care about his character anymore. He's dead now. There's not going to be any resolution between him and Osha. It seemed like there was some kind of conflict between them. That's, I guess, over now. And
Yeah,
uh and then we learn no new information about why the Sith guy is doing any of the Sith things, except that he says vaguely his only motivation, he says, is that, well,
he wants to be free.
yeah, and this is what I think they're gonna do. So the Sith guy says like, because Soul's like, why are you doing this? And then the Sith guy's like, I'm doing it for freedom because the Jedi say that I can't exist. And so he's making it seem like he's just killing people to hide his Sith identity, which
Right.
doesn't make sense at all because no one was looking for him until they started killing those four Jedi.
He was assigned Jedi at birth.
He was assigned Sith at birth.
No, he was assigned Jedi, and he was
Oh, he wanted the
pissed about it.
transition.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in his transitionary phase to Sith.
Right. And so yeah, so he's transitioning to Sith, and the Jedi are bigots and they won't allow it, I guess. And then he's like saying that he needs to have a pupil. And I know there's like something in the sort of Star Wars lore about Sith want to have a pupil to train or whatever. There's some like thing there. But none of that's been fleshed out in any of the movies. None of that's been fleshed out in the show. So we still don't really understand what the fuck. We're 5 episodes in. We don't understand why May is doing what she's doing. We don't understand why the Sith guy is doing what he's doing at all. So it's just a bunch of people doing shit, and we're just sitting around, kind of like, huh? No one's really trying to investigate or find out why anyone's doing what they're doing. Everyone just knows except for the audience. Or I guess Soul knows except for the audience. Soul's about to tell Osha the plot, like this is the plot, and then he gets stunned by May, so he can't do it. Then the dumbest fucking thing ever happens. Okay, so finally, finally, at like the around the 19-minute mark, Soul, manages to disarm or the they manage to disarm the Sith guy, and Soul's about to kill him. Soul's about to chop his head off. This is a guy who just killed like 20 people. Okay. We're at 19 minutes and 20 seconds. Soul's about to chop this guy's head off. And then Osha's like, Soul, you can't kill him.
Yeah.
He's unarmed. I was like, what? Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me? She's like, ah, you gotta take him in. You have to arrest him. I'm like, this guy killed like 20 fucking people. What do you mean arrest him? You just knocked the lightsaber out of his hand. Like you can just pull it back with the force. It's like 2 seconds. Like you gotta kill this guy before he could respond. Like this, it's just so retarded. Are you kidding me? No, kill him. Kill him. Do it quickly, right? You literally need Palpatine there to tell him to kill him. And then Soul says the stupidest thing ever, which is like, he doesn't even, and then, okay, Soul's even more incompetent, more stupid. You want this guy to die. He's the worst Jedi ever because he doesn't even try to arrest, doesn't try to arrest him. All he does is he says, like, oh, a Jedi will not strike an unarmed man. So he literally lets him get his lightsaber back so they can keep fighting.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's totally dumb.
And you're like, oh, I guess he's just a retard. He says the Jedi do not attack the unarmed. And then the Sith guy goes, rules, rules, rules. Gets his lightsaber again. And I'm like, is that true that is that true that the Jedi, I've never heard that before. Jedi won't attack unarmed people. And does it even count? Like, if there's a guy and he has access to a weapon, and you know that he's going to pick up that weapon if you let him and then try to kill you, like you literally are retarded if if you're like, oh, I'm not gonna fight you because you're unarmed. Unless you have some like wild, wacky, like, oh, I want to be the best and show off my skills things, which doesn't make sense because the Jedi shouldn't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah, this whole thing reeks of silliness.
Yep. So then Osha does or May does the body. She does the Freaky Friday, or I'm sorry, the Parent Trap maneuver with Osha, sneaks off with Soul, and then it ends with the Sith guy. He walks over, he finds unconscious Osha, and he's all like implying that he wants her to be his pupil now for some reason.
Right. Yeah. It's really unclear what's going on there. Like, is
Mm-hmm.
he going to abduct her? Like, keep her from telepathically phoning it into Soul and saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm still alive."
I think he's going to abduct her and try to train her or something. He gives like Kingdom Hearts level dialogue. He says, even in the revelation of our triumph, dot dot dot, you see the depth of our despair. I don't know what that means in the context of the scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
playing up the twin trope all the way through this is just, I mean, it's not really adding anything to the story here.
Mhm. And then that's it. It ends with him putting his jacket on Osha. Presumably she's gonna wake up next episode. He's gonna be like, let me train you. Okay, here's what I'm wondering. The next episode. So we only got, I think there's only two more episodes, right? Or, I'm sorry, three more episodes. We have 6, 7, and 8
He's going to turn Osha into Reek from
from Game of
from
Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah. That's where I want this to go.
Okay, that would be hilarious. He's gonna cut her dick off. So here's what I'm wondering. Okay, how much longer can they drag out this stupid mystery okay, there's no way whatever this mystery
Is
is
going to
going to
be
be
satisfying.
unsatisfying. No, there's
Oh, it's
no,
already
yeah,
unsatisfying.
there's no way it's satisfying. It's going to be something like whatever it is. The Jedi accidentally killed the people in the Coven or whatever. Who cares? Like everyone could have seen this coming. It's not going to be interesting. Everyone can go roll their eyes. Okay. Are they going to drag it out till the last episode? Like, is it going to be dragged out literally to the last episode? Or because how, when like Osha wakes up and the Sith guy is there, she's going to be like, what's going on? And either he's going to explain it to her and the audience, or he's going to give more vague Kingdom Hearts dialogue about darkness. and and we'll get nothing. We'll get nothing. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to get the explanation next episode, or are we going to get more Kingdom Hearts vague dialogue?
He's probably going to tell her the Jedi killed everyone and
Mm-hmm.
explain the situation there. I don't know how he knows. He wasn't there. I mean,
No, they're going to
they
do a flashback, and
they
you're going to
forbid
see.
any men to be within a 200 parsec territory. So,
No, no, no. This was going to happen next episode. Okay. They're gonna do a May's gonna May's gonna look up, or sorry, Osha's gonna look at him and be like, "Oh my God, I remember you, your baby brother Billy." And that's gonna do like a flashback, and you're gonna see that in the original flashback, in all the background, there was the little Quilmer as a like a 3-year old, and they just ignored him because he was a boy and they're sexist. And no one really cared for him, but he saw it all, Adam. He saw
I
everything.
just it's impossible to be invested in this story if you just don't know the intricacies of people's motivations. It's just the mystery box is really destroying that.
Well, you
I
can
don't know
have
why anybody wants anything. Even this whole like May, like you need to at least let us know if May says, "Look, I'm going to turn myself in,"
Mhm.
and she's not really going to turn herself in. She's going to turn herself in as a trick. Then we understand. Okay, the motivation is clear, right? She's just doing it to
Right.
fake him out.
Hmm.
But she literally went from the last episode, I'm going to turn myself into the Jedi. I have information that they want, to, and I'm going to pretend to be my twin sister and tag around with Soul and get on the inside. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, that would have actually been interesting if it was some sort of like ploy to like fake turn herself in.
Look, and this is another huge problem with this show. The thing that's interesting about stories is when characters are forced to make difficult decisions, because then we really empathize with them, right? You're like, Soul wants to get his ex Padawan to safety, but he has to also secure the bodies of all of his dead comrades, right? So he's in this horrible situation. And we
Right.
feel that. We're like, oh my God, he can't leave. But he's worried she's gonna die, right? Oh my God,
Right.
he's
Right.
between a
Yes.
rock and a hard place.
Yes.
I would hate to be in this situation. But this show never does that. It's like, fuck it, we'll just leave. We're
This
out
show
of
is
here.
this show is allergic to conflict and emotion. It runs away from conflict and emotion as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Well,
oh
and
my God, I have to fight my sister. Like it's did you watch House of the Dragon?
yeah.
Like in House of the Dragon, two twin brothers have to fight, right? It's kind of funny that we've got two twins in this and we've got two twins in the House of the Dragon. But the
Hmm.
House of the Dragon handles it correctly. They're like, "Brother, I love you." Like he's literally forced to kill his brother to save Rhaenyra. And
Hmm.
what does he do? He feels so bad he fucking kills himself immediately.
Right.
It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
get
You
it.
actually feel the conflict of the scene.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Right. Yeah. People are emotional creatures. But going back to what you're saying, like with the motivation, you can have a situation where there's a mystery villain who's killing people and you don't quite know why. You can do that as long as we understand like the clear motivations of the protagonist. And that's why I was saying, if this show
Whose
wanted to
motivation do you
be
understand?
no, 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 no one's. I know. That's what I'm saying. If this show wanted to be a like crime thriller murder mystery plot, like this would be structured completely differently. You'd instead have a situation where OSHA and Soul should be actively investigating like these murders, like it's like a police, like it's some kind of like murder mystery police drama, but with Jedi, right? They go to the crime scene, they do all that stuff, but instead it's not. It's like they're like just wandering around and they're like, oh, well, we're just wandering from scene to scene without any really clear direction. And oh, then the Sith guy just shows up. Like they're not actually deducing anything. No one's solving anything. And then it turns out Soul knows all the information already. He's just not
you
telling the audience.
look,
Or,
you could keep that a mystery, which they obviously want to do, and still add tension if you know that Soul, is terrified that Osha is going to find out his secret.
right.
So he's actively trying to keep the secret from her. You'd be like, okay, what is this secret that he's so desperate?
No,
And you'd also be invested in the fact that, look, he has motivation. He doesn't want her to find
right.
out what happened.
Here's how they should have done this. Okay. You have Osha still be in the Jedi Order. You can keep her backstory. She's still in the Jedi Order. Okay. She hasn't flunked out. And
That'd be a million
someone,
times better already.
yeah, someone has killed a Jedi and they're investigating it. Soul's investigating it. and OSHA's investigating it because she's his Padawan. And as she's investigating it, she starts to find out things about the murder and about her own past. And as she's like getting to like like diving deeper and deeper into the mystery, if you want to do like the cop drama thing, the Jedi Order is trying to stop her from getting to the truth, right?
Yeah.
That's how
Well,
you would do this thing. So it's like she's actively on a dream to try to like figure out what's going on. She's going through the archives. She's in, talking to witnesses. She's like, doing shit. And the Jedi was like, no, we got to stop her. You're going too far. Like you're digging up things you shouldn't be digging up. Ba, 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 ba. That's what you do. That's what you do.
May is trying to expose the corruption. Soul is trying to hide the corruption, and Osha is caught in between as a future Jedi.
Right.
And
And then you
and not only
could,
that, the family thing then plays in because she's like, I'm caught between the Jedi who I swear my allegiance to and my own family. That is the uncomfortable decision, right?
right, right. And then you'd have OSHA, like, if she's still a Jedi, she's caught between her ideals of being a Jedi, and there could be some sort of corrupt Jedi faction running around or something that, is shaking her faith in the Jedi Order, right? I know
Yeah.
fans would fucking hate this because they would put the Jedi in bad light, but I'm just saying if you wanted to do a story like this in the first place, this is the way it would or should be structured to be actually interesting on
Yeah.
a normal human emotional level.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would just psych everyone out. 'Cause I would start with the ending. I'm like, how do we tell a story where the Jedi are completely innocent, but they look guilty as fuck? That's the way that I would do it. And I would have everybody hating the Jedi all the way through, and then the end of
Mhm.
it, you'd realize that the Jedi were totally in the right.
That would be really
Yeah.
risky. That'd be really risky because a lot of the fans would just be so mad.
Oh
But
yeah.
it would be funny. That would be kind of hilarious. That'd be like, I mean, it is a great like reverse reveal. No, the Jedi were actually totally justified from the beginning.
Yeah, that's how you. This is the thing. They always, at this point, though, the subverting expectations is kind of a trope now. At this
Right.
point, it would subvert everyone's expectations if they could just write a decent Star Wars television series.
Of
That's what
course.
would subvert everyone's expectations.
Of course. Dill's Death of an Elephant. Thank you for the $5. Says, hey now, maybe the first super chat of the new channel. It is. Thank you. Can't stay, but I wish you all luck on y'all's new channel. Also, congrats on 1,000 subs. Wowie. Any new background layouts or Sammy trolling plans in the future?
Well, I'm definitely gonna do new graphics for the show, but
Yeah.
I realized, oh my god, I don't even have any graphics for the show or anything. But I should have done that ahead of time, but obviously
Okay,
we'll
we'll whip
fix it
something
as we
up.
go forward. Yeah.
And thank you so much, JMac, our surrogate father, Daddy JMac, for the $20. Says, congrats on your first stream. You kids got talent. You're going places, I tell you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Okay. Anything else to talk about this episode?
No, I mean, like I said, at least they just had climactic action the entire way through. It wasn't as boring as the last episode where they just had people walking around talking to one another and not really saying anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
and a few people died that I didn't really like
Didn't
anyway.
care.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, we'll see where it goes from here.
Okay. Well, see you guys later.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.